twice a day. Ain't we here? You don't want to eat then. So just putting it in there. I think you're gonna get big as a tabby. Yeah, change it up. Andy, what's going on? How you doing? Hey, Rondo. Start here in a minute, y'all. Some people came much earlier instead of looking at the time that it's scheduled for. You know. So those who joined, and Rondo, I appreciate that last night, brother, with the podcast. I mean, it could have been very scripted and all that, notes and all that. I just read a few things. There's so much more information out there, and we live right where it's really, you know what I'm saying? It's not stagnant. Now, where they're going, a lot of things hidden. Most people are living their worst lives, and they're blind by what's really going on because they're living a lie. When you live a lie, you're going to ascertain and partake and perform in a lie. You know what I mean? It's pathetic, but it's reality. And you would expect people to look at those things and actually make them mean something. But when you got people watching Matt Hoffa and all them other shows. Stuff that don't even matter. Like, so what? Like, so what? The music industry was infiltrated. Everything's been infiltrated. And then right in front of everybody, they're doing what they're doing, and nobody's doing nothing to better themselves. It doesn't matter what's going on. Only a handful truly are. Everybody else is questioning themselves when you shouldn't be questioning how great you truly are. But it is what it is. I wanted to read this. I have the whole thing. It's the PDF. I've downloaded it. I actually ordered the book. And what is it? Well, it is called The 12 Gospels of the Holy 12. Okay? I'm going to the range. This little slight headache dissipates. The Gospel of the Holy 12. Somebody was asking me some questions about it. I was like, yeah, I got the PDF. I got thousands of PDFs. Hundreds and thousands, if not. You dig what I'm saying? And I wanted to read something. And somebody was asking me because I guess they was listening to somebody. They said, well, is Gilgamesh I said, listen. Gilgamesh is older than what you can even, the story of Gilgamesh is older than what you can even comprise of. The Bible in context is nowhere near, not even a percent as old as the story of Gilgamesh. They want you to believe it is. But you got to think about who is Gilgamesh, who Gilgamesh, who is Nimrod, who is... I shared, and you have to go back and look for the live. I'm not going to dig it up. When I was talking about how many names the enemy have, or is it plenty of them? You know, when you have an earth, it's always had billions of people, and every once in a while, there's something happen, a calamity, and millions, if not billions, of lives are lost. There are more people talking about their experiences, seeing people like myself, which I've been saying for over 30 years about me and my buddy with the guy's eyes that closed sideways, and that's not fake. I don't care what you think or believe. We was really talking to this individual like out of nowhere, just was chatting with us like we're over, in another country, and everything was fine, Then all of a sudden, God clicks his eyes one time, but before it closes this way, it closed that way. That's for real, people. I am not making that up. I've been doing my best to get in contact, find out my boy, talking to Rick Carlisle, all these people I'm served with, to find out where dude at. Now, we got one dude who knew about the story. He in California, liberal, a Negro. He had a house built over there in Florida, but you know how it is. He's a liberal. So I'm not going to go on that. He was a heavy drinker back then. I don't know what he's doing now. But anywho, when he got to retire. So I said, well, no hope in it. I even sent him a friend request when I was on Facebook, and he never replied because, some people are very, Anywho, and this is supposed to be a melanated mofo, but anywho, I'm not going to say his name. I was doing my best to find out where homeboy is. We lost contact after that 4 years of serving together. Never really stayed in contact. See him at the club every once in a while, stuff like that. Maybe out at the mall. That was about it. You know what I mean? But I'm doing my best to find him now. Though I'm not on Facebook. I don't have it. I'm still doing my best to find him because me and him saw it together. He ran. And people are now starting to say they've seen these things, and other people, and I'm not into that alien bullcrap. Like with y'all, if that were the case and they were that powerful, do you think they'd be waiting and watching right now that sadistic? Man, please. The aliens are things that you don't know nothing about, that move amongst you. Things that are hidden from you. Because certain individuals that work with them things made sure that you would be dumbed down. You wouldn't know. So anyway, let me go ahead and read this little part. This is the Gospel of the Holy 12, an original and a complete gospel written down and published by the late Reverend G.J. Oshley. Now, I'll give you my own opinion if I read this little partake, and then we'll get to the Iron Republic. This is a new edition with introduction and notes by E. Francis UDNY MA, priest in a liberal Catholic church. Scottish or Ireland, if I remember right. Excuse me. And it has a little emblem, the thorns with the heart in the middle and a crown on the top. The sorrows of the earth encompass my heart. Yea, they pierce it as with thorns. But thou wilt yet fill the earth with love and crown my heart with gladness. Yeah. Anyway, an invocation. You know what an invocation is, right? O Master of the Great White Lodge, Lord of all the religions of the world, come down again to the earth that needs thee, and help the nations that are longing for thy presence, the nations longing for thy presence. Speak the word of peace, which shall make the peoples to cease from their quarrelings. Speak the word of brotherhood, which shall make the warring classes and castes to know themselves as one. Come in the might of thy love, come in the splendor of thy power, and save the world which is longing for thy coming, O thou who art the teacher alike of angels and of men. It ain't who you think it is. So there's Negroes, supposedly. There's so-called melanated people walking around sharing this stuff about Gilgamesh and Noah. We know different names. We're reading it. As far as what's knowledge is permitted, as far as what's been given, to pull out the puzzle pieces. And the Holy 12, the disciples, as far as the narrative is gone by the Christian ideology, they're not talking about the great creator. They're talking about the families of their dialect, to which they spread all over the place, warring to bring them together against the natural order of things. If that ain't the case, what's going on right now? Now, the forward is, we the undersigned, without committing ourselves to any particular theory as to the way in which this gospel comes to us, to dismiss, right? Gladly avail ourselves of the editor's invitation to express the satisfaction we feel at the republication of a book which insists on the obvious, though often lamentably neglected, duty of love and protection for animals, which relates a number of instances of the personal interference of the Lord of Love to save animals from ill treatment, and which contains much else that is true and beautiful, including the chapter, Truth is a Ladder of Many Rungs, which under the title, What is Truth, appeared in the Herald of the Star about 10 years ago, and there first brought to the editor's knowledge the existence of this gospel. Now, when was this? Well, let's get an introduction. The Reverend G.J. Ousley, by whom this gospel was written down, was a son of Sir Ralph Ousley, KCB, and was born in 1835 and died in 1906. He was a priest first in the established Church of Ireland, and afterwards in the Catholic Apostolic Church. And the third edition, and last before the present one, appeared in or about 1902, and contained a preface in which Mr. Ousley said that the gospel had been received by him in numerous fragments. Does it sound like something with these fake-ass Mormons? Anyway, excuse my French, I had to say that way. Gospel had been received by him in numerous fragments at different times from Emmanuel Swedenborg, Ashkenaz, and who was seen by trustworthy clairvoyants and afterwards identified from a portrait shown to them. Anna Kingsford and Edward Maitland, and a priest of a former century giving his name as Placidius, of the Franciscan order, afterwards a Carmelite. By then, it was translated and given to the editors in the flesh to be supplemented in their sick, proper places where indicated. From the four Gospels, in parentheses, authorized version, and revised were necessary were the same. And by the divine Spirit was the gospel communicated to the four above mentioned, therefore, and by them translated and given to the writers. And by editors and writers, he meant apparently himself only. At any rate, there is nothing to show that anyone else was concerned in the production. And Mr. Samuel Hart, editor of The Perfect Way, or The Finding of Christ, and other works by the late Dr. Anna Kingsford and Mr. Edward Maitland, says that Mr. Ousley, whom he knew well, had quaint way of referring to himself in the plural meaning, thereby either the qualities, masculine and feminine, within him, or the planes, inner and outer, of his being, his soul and body, respectively. In the subsequent pamphlet, Mr. Osley said that the unseen communicators impressed the text on his mind. Communicators. And it goes on, and I tell you right now, I read all kind of stuff, and I go down to find this one, and people believe this, just like you have the post that I put up about the Second Amendment fraud, and then a certain judge, okay, of a certain caucus, a Republican, who feels that the Second Amendment was meant for the state's militia National Guards. No, it was for everybody. The Bill of Rights even says it. And it was to protect us against tyranny, to which you're dealing with right now. But as you see, the 5G is ramping up. That means it is slowly, what I say about a frog in the pot, in the cauldron. There's no fire, and then you get a little spark going, and you got a little flame. And then you stoke that flame. And what happens is that big cauldron, that lily pad and that frog is up on, it starts to get a little warm. And so the frog wants to go to sleep. Like hybrid, like a bear or whatever, what do they call it? I forget the word. It's just that crazy. Anyway, the frog wants to go to sleep. And they keep adding more and more kindle and wood to the fire. And what you have? You have a boiled frog at the end. Well, that's exactly what 5G is doing to you right now, as far as your brain, your innards, and everything. It is slowly, because it's everywhere, it is boiling you. It is slowly roasting you. I am serious. So we always think it's going to be some big civil war. Well, those who make it through this, probably so. That's a civil war going on right now. Nobody sees it. The thing is, for people to go to sleep and not wake up. And then they have everybody to go, and the coffins are in every state. Millions of them. So they can put the bodies in or purify, whatever they're going to do. And those who are underground in the great domes and the mountains, the ones who are protected from this, they're not feeling this. They don't go in a home like you think. Or their homes are built different. They're more protected than yours or this one. And because everybody's just still going, like I was saying last night, the slave narrative, just going to work and doing what they do instead of coming together and building a fortification, which don't take that long at all, and listen to those people who are a little more knowledgeable. No, you're going to sit there and allow yourself, and you think it's going to work out. So as far as any Negro or anybody talking about the foolishness of the gospel of the Holy 12, want to convince you in some fictional religion, man-made, just like the narrative of that guy James, with the Mormon church and all that stuff, stay away from it. If you're not reading it, look at some puzzle pieces, look at what's going on, the certain things that are happening in the world, then that's on you. I'm not here to convince nobody of nothing, because it seems like they're busy throttling, and people in their own little mannerism are easily hurt and dissuaded. So be it. You cannot stop foolish. You cannot stop the ignorance of the majority. You can't do it. I see Negroes comment on my post, and I go to theirs, and they still talking about all the hip hop and this, that, and you hear that jam with Coi Leray? I'm sitting there going, what is wrong with these Lily, that goofy big woman? I mean, you can't make it up. Now, I'm not here to beat up on them, but some people need to be talked about because they influence. People are easy influence. People say, well, you got a YouTube channel. You're a content creator and influencer. No, I'm not. I'm not sitting here with pulling up a whole thing I wrote for this weekend to canoodle you into this certain place so I can use you. I'm not doing that. I'm making it a 50-50, if not a little more, thing where it's 100% of who we are, and we're viable and available to each other. Totally different. So if anybody ever felt like that, let them be. I say let them be there. It's amazing how people embrace and love their lie. It's just, you know what it's like to sit there and be looking at, you know, you don't have to share everything. You don't have to put everything out. It's not that important. What's important is what you're doing with yourself. And to have somebody ask me about that, and I was sitting there going, have I read it? Of course. Do I know anything? Well, duh. Like, and some people just can't let go of their Christian ideology and this, that, and other. The Negro said, yeah, the Christ is the Holy 12. And oh, man. I was like, who is this nigga? Who is he? Who is this idiot? And then I said, I really don't want to know. I don't want to waste my energy in a department and a place because you're lethargic and you gotta have something that feeds that gene in you, that nonsense. You've got to have an answer to which there's only one answer to. Let it go. Leave it alone. If there's something meant to be, you will know about it. I keep telling or continue to tell you that within you is all the answers. And you don't have to be pragmatic and being having defamation of the character of things. You don't have to sit there and squawk and scold it. You know, I'm saying it because I know some things, but does it mean that there's something not bigger? Of course there is. The problem is they actually think, and let me tell you something, when you start fighting and doing some foul things, Jeffrey Dahmer admitted to it, cost him a goal for his murder, that, yeah, I'll probably do it again. You don't get how sadistic these individuals are. And they, with the fiat that's worthless, have hidden themselves by those who will utilize them. When you look at Epstein, some people think he's not dead. I don't care. You look at Bill Clinton. I mean, between the Gates and what you call a foundation, the Clinton Foundation, a place where that guy, what's his name, was found shot with a shotgun and hung. If you can't see that this fictional government isn't protecting these, they hire these sociopaths that they groom, well groomed, and they get them in there. It's hard for them to break away because now they're structured in, the fear and everything else. Y'all just don't get it because you're not part of it. You haven't been snatched up and taken to an island and be hunted because you're not under the ground or running around. You don't have a clue, but you're comfortable. You're comfortable right here. You love this. I'm not here to disprove or prove. I'm not here to integrate myself with anything. I'm not here for the masses. I'm here for a few. And I'm glad and grateful for those who hang. And I'm utter full of energy every time we get rid of another one. You know why? Because they need to be right with it. We need that cannon fodder. I don't say that with no ill will, no feelings, no nothing, no emotion bound to it. Oh, well, that's up to you. And there's a lot of people who are not willing to do anything to better their circumstances or the situation we're in. So to them, I'm glad every time one of you leave, I actually get 2 or 3 more. So another one of you weak bastards, I would love to see you leave so we can bring 3 or 4 more into the fold where 1%, maybe 4% of them might actually get it. Yeah, I know it's a low number. That means partial. I'm serious. I am so serious. You might be thinking, is that some reverse psychology? What would I need reverse psychology, to which I don't believe in? My major is sociology. I could sit here right now and pull out a piece of papers and start speaking those things that are written down and really have you. I want everything to be organic. It is important that we start being real because see, if any of y'all come around us, we're gonna speak, and I don't care if you think you're silver tongue, and we're gonna see you for what you are, and we're gonna call you on it. So when you live at, maybe you can get away with some things. No. It's like Michael Roberts, little chump behind self. And I don't have no feelings towards him. I'm just calling him what he is. I watched him for a long time berate this, that, and other because he was known for that. And so I pulled him on it. And I went hard on him. I actually didn't feel nothing about what I was saying. And I was right in his pocket. Just like that. Because see, those people who are arrogant in their ignorance, they'll laugh, ha, ha, ha. Those are the ones who are emotionally balanced with their statements are being made. They believe in the nonsense they're pushing. When you have somebody that don't, it's a whole different diorama. You know, they can throttle all they want. Like I say, everybody that's doing something against me, whether it be a platform or anything, it goes from that individual back to those concierge who put them in the position that they do. It's not made up, y'all. It's a real thing. You don't have to believe in it. If you're here watching with the wrong purpose, you better believe it's caustic. spoke it one time, and it's all it takes. I don't have to reiterate. I'm just informing those who are ill-informed. You come here like this and thinking that, no, you're affected. Just by me mentioning it. I like to see people do better and do a better job, but they're not. And it's pretty pathetic. It's pretty sad, really. Where did I put that? Let me see. I think it went dead last night. I have to order another battery for this thing, and it's just made in China. I have to say that because that's what it is. Made in China. Piece of crap. Let me see here. Shanghai. Hold on. This writing has gotten so much smaller. Trust me. I have some older batteries and the writing's pretty big. Okay. No kidding. Yeah. Anyway. Let's see, and it goes in. So it's
potential spam.
Y'all heard that, potential spam. I say certain things and here they go. Too damn retarded. The AI and everything's broken. I hate saying AI because it's nothing artificial. It's not intelligent. Trust me, it's not. You can teach a monkey through mimicking how to sharpen a knife. So, and I put a video up with that. So yeah, this is old like. Anywho, let's go ahead and read the Iron Republic. I don't want to keep going on about the nonsense because the individuals are going to do their part, and I appreciate the fact that they're going to continue to do their part. And yet, even with those watching and seeing how it affects, the next individual will come along and do the same thing. A gentleman talking to his daughter, and I had to deal with the same thing for my daughter, who has her mother's mentality, but all my gifts, and her ignorance supersedes anything of reality. And though I love my daughter and would lay my life down for her, I am very aware that her stupidity comes from her mother because her mother was very stupid in her decisions, and she will lie. And even though my daughter got to live with the man my daughter slept with, that nasty, ugly, oh, God, dog, man, okay? And believe me, she cheated on him. I can guarantee it. It's in her neck of the woods. I've seen things that I wasn't supposed to see of her family that I was like, you got to be kidding me. But it's always the worst of the broken ones that, so for some reason, stay together. But those who are into the narcissistic behavior of doing the same thing. And so, oh well, you know, and these are the religious individuals we're discussing here now. We're not talking about the everyday normal, so-called normal individuals. We're talking about the narcissistic individuals. And though I speak well-being into my daughter and everything else, the reality is it's her decision. And my son, he'll talk every once in a while to me, but I'll tell him, look, you get her together and you get yourself together. You know, you embarked on that life with your mother, who falsely mitigated control over you with the wrong intentions. And there you are. This is the next chapter. We're going to read a quarter of it, and then we'll do another quarter later because I really want to get through this book. Okay? I really, really do, because I want to get back into that, but I want to, and later on, when we get back into the second quarter out of 4, we're going to get into the Cryon and the COVID. All right? Because I really want to hit that. And we're going to because I want to pick up Arthur Kessler and William Cooper. Just those 2 books. The other books are almost done. So, all right? So let's go ahead and get to chapter 4. This is the Iron Republic, edited by C.J. Austin. Okay? We're in 4th chapter, so the page is not required. And you know, I got to do this. I said I wasn't right, but I've been doing it, so you got to do this. I think it was a sister. Yeah. No, a brother, Raymond Berry. I think I said it before, but Alicia has already got you. Thanks for the 20. Appreciate it. So that's gonna go for the next few books. And we're gonna get some, I'm gonna get a nice couple expensive books, actually. the thing about you actually pay for what you get. You know what I'm saying? And there are a few books that are very expensive. I'm gonna pay for the one that's 2 something. I'm gonna buy that myself. I actually bought one for 100 something, and I'm waiting on that now. I'll go check the post office, see if it came in. It's been 2 weeks, so maybe it's here, maybe it's not. But there's some books that are very informative. We're talking like original prints. A lot of books that I get, other than ones that are recent, based on about 2017 up to now, are first prints. But some of the older ones are, they're like $7.99 or $14, something like that. Those are like third or fourth. Things have been changed. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be punctuation or spelling, things have been changed. So I love when I come across a book and it lets me know first edition. I'm like, holy smack, original print. Oh man, I gotta get it. And then I go, $1,200. Huh? Okay, you really want to make sure the average Joe Smo can't purchase that book, huh? I can. But you see what I'm saying? So we're gonna get some really good ones. The leather one I want to read. That leather was like rawhide, literally like rawhide. I received it with all kind of bubble wrap plastic. If you can see the picture, it was the only one. The cover was. I mean, it looked like it was going to crack. When I received it, I left it in the box, took it to the lady, and she's been rubbing it with that mink oil and all that stuff and letting it soften. It's softened, but she's got to keep the pages protected the way with the little blue light, red or blue light that's always under to bring the leather back to the way it was. This book was very expensive, y'all. And I can't wait to get into it and open it up. I'm going to be wearing white gloves, plastic underneath those. I'm going to keep it in listen here. And even she was like, oh, when she saw the book, I was like, man, please don't do me like that. She said, oh, no, I'm too old for that. And you got caught me off 30, 40 years ago. Ha! Serious. So let's go ahead. Chapter 4. That music sounds good in the background, right? Yeah. All right, more jazz. Anyway, chapter 4. On our return to the vessel, Captain Brent and myself discussed the situation thoroughly and decided, so far as the ship was concerned, to leave everything in status quo for the time being. I instructed him to pay the crew up to date and without canceling articles, to give them all shore leave for 30 days with the privilege of going where they please in the country, or remaining on the vessel at their option. He, with the steward, was to remain on board. Now, the next morning I went out to look up a bank with the view of converting some of my gold into money of the realm. Failing to find any such institution, or even to make anyone understand my wants, I had recourse to my countryman, Professor Morris, who had been thoughtful enough to give me his address the night before. I informed him of my desire, at which he looked grave and asked me what my resources were. I told him that I had money enough to answer all my present wants, having about 50,000 in American gold in my safe aboard the vessel, and that what I wanted was to find a safe bank where I could deposit it and convert it into money of the country as occasion should require. My dear sir, said the professor seriously, I fear your greatest disappointment with the country will be when I enlighten you on the subject of your inquiry. Such things as banks are unknown in the financial system of this country. That's why I say I have no respect for the Ashkenaz. But surely, said I, there are places of exchange where I can convert American gold into the currency of the country. No, replied he, for the simple reason that gold is not money in this country and is convertible into money on the basis of its intrinsic value, as iron, coal, and other commodities are. I understand that, I interrupted, and in that, your system is not really different from ours. Gold money with us is based on the intrinsic value of the metal and therein differs from the silver and other forms of currency. That is the beauty of the gold standard to which the United States is destined. There is no artificial or fiat value inherent in it. Consequently, it is worth as much in any other country as it is in ours. So do y'all get when they remove the gold standard and the silver standard from the $2 and the $5 bill and all that and the $100 bill and all that? Through Nixon and everything else, they murdered a con, Lincoln, rewrote history, whitewashed everything, and gave a false sense of comfort and security to a meleaguered bunch of individuals who call themselves white. And then melanated people follow the suit right behind them, as if it's okay because of the programming and conditioning of an education system and the TV and movie and entertainment, which was always to paint a white face, to indoctrinate, to turn a blind eye to the truth, and to make everybody blind to the reality of that truth. And yet people still run around circumventing that ideology, believing that it's going to support them in the throes of the last wails and hollers and screams. Anywho, yes, replied the professor with a smile, it is worth as much in any other country where it is used for money. But you must know, my dear sir, that it is from its use as money that it derives its chief value. In this country, it is never used for money, and its intrinsic value is only what it derives from its utility in other aspects, the same as in tin, iron, or copper. It is not half so useful as any of these, but it is much scarcer and is relatively higher on that account. Still, you must be terribly disappointed when I tell you that what was a handsome fortune for you in America is comparatively an insignificant sum in the Iron Republic. There will not be the slightest trouble, though, in converting it into money of the realm, and you need have no hesitancy about doing it, as you can reconvert it into gold at the same rate at any time. In other words, you can deposit it in the government exchange, receiving its value in currency with the privilege of exchanging the currency for gold again at any time. Come, said he, let us go down and arrange it at once. You know, when you go to a financial institute, it says financial. It's finance. It is everything against you. It was created by who? And yet people want to sit here and smile and laugh in their faces as if it's all right. And the world over does not get the importance of what is required of them. Going out, we took a kind of horseless cab and soon alighted before, by far, the largest building I had yet seen. Rather, I should say we alighted in it, and for the streets passed through the building as did a number of railroads. Going into an office, the professor walked up to the counter and asked the price of gold. The clerk in charge handed out an official sheet that looked like a market report, and with his pencil pointed to the quotation of gold in the list. We learned from this that it was worth 2 diems, pronounced dams, per pound. A simple calculator showed my 50,000 of American coin to be worth about $666. I was dumbfounded. In a single moment, I felt a handsome fortune swept from my hands. I actually cowered as from a blow. He was indoctrinated very, very strongly. My companion must have noted it, for he slapped me on the shoulder and rallied me, saying that I was richer in the Iron Republic without a dollar than I would be anywhere else in the world with $1 million. $600? Why? Said I despairingly. That is not enough to support me until I can find work. Why? My friend, that is enough to keep you in comfort for several years. And there is your vessel, worth 10,000 diems, at least, enough to make you a very rich man indeed in this country. See, he didn't understand the values they had there, and the moral subjugation, the responsibility to the world they lived in, that they created. It was not becoming and having a status put one above the other, just like the play. The most so-called most important individual could be in the gallows, and the farthest away from the stage, and the most deemed brokest could be in the front, to which there was none of that. You get what I'm saying? There was balance. Who would need such a thing? But perversions. And y'all still here not getting or grasping what I've been expressing for so long. After ascertaining the market value of my gold, it took but a short time to have it brought to the government exchange and weighed in. Before the metal was weighed in, the clerk in charge asked me for my seal. I in turn looked inquiringly and rather helplessly to Professor Morris, who explained that I was not a citizen and therefore had no seal. This seemed likely to prove a fatal hitch in the proceedings, and for the clerk said it was impossible for him to certify me unless I had a seal. After consultation, it was arranged by having Professor Morris deposit for me. It's supposed to say deposited for me. Anyway, It may be supposed that I was an interested observer of these conventionalities, and so entirely new and strange to me. Drawing what appeared to be a disc of hard rubber about the size of a 25-cent piece from his purse, my friend dropped it into the slot of a registering device attached to the scales. The clerk in charge pressed a lever and a small card fell out, along with the professor's seal. Placing the seal in his pocket, Professor Morris handed me the card. On one side was a facsimile of the seal, a circular ornamented border, and within these words, W.A. Morris, American citizen by grace, 1863. And on the reverse was stamped in figures that cut into the card the exact weight of the metal. The entire business was transacted without the agent of the government ever touching the gold or the receipt for it. From the scales, the metal was passed to the assayer nearby, who put a stamp under the weight indicating its fineness, and then it was tagged and carried to a vault-like storeroom, passing to another department. Now, in parentheses, it states, for the place was arranged similar to a great bank. And the professor laid down his card and had counted out to him a pile of bills, something like bank checks, ruled crossways on the back to hold many signatures. Aggregating 654 diems, the alloy and the gold make it worth 12 diems less than the quoted price. These bills were handed over to me and the business was completed. The whole transaction consumed scarcely more time than it takes to describe it, and we went from there to the Marine office where we met the president, and the three of us launched. I'm thinking about this fake space system, and anyway, lunched with the director of navigation in the hotel. At 2 o'clock, we repaired to the station to take the cars for the capital of the republic. Now, the president and Professor Morris were recognized and greeted courteously by almost everyone we met, but there was no groveling or psychophancy. Like you see these people and all these people with cameras and these fake Satanist, goofy actors and actresses. Paparazzi, the dumbest thing on earth. And the people who stand there, I used to laugh at the people when I see Michael Jackson singing, crying and panting and throwing panties and bras, like, and men too. I'm sitting there going, our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Anyway, psychophancy, yes. I could scarcely realize that I was in the company of the president of a great nation. So simple and unpretentious were his manners and carriage. He carried his own carpet bag in his hand and seemed to expect no more difference than anybody else. Now, Professor Morris purchased my ticket for me, and we sat down with a number of others in a comfortable waiting room, and in a few minutes a porter came in and announced that the Capital City Express was waiting. We went through a gate where our tickets were taken up and passed into the cars, and these cars were 4 feet wide, 6 feet high, and 24 feet long. The seats extended entirely across the car, and there was no provision made for walking about in the coach. Between every two seats placed to face each other, a door opened from the side, so that they were practically compartment cars with room in each compartment for 4 persons. There were a dozen or 15 of these cars in the train, but no locomotive, engineer, or conductor was in sight. I noticed that the end of the car at the front of the train was pointed like the bow of a boat, and when the passengers were ushered into the cars, the doors were all locked from the outside. A full description of these railroads with detailed drawings and specifications of their entire equipment is furnished with my official report, but will not be injected into this narrative, as it would doubtless be tedious to lay. What? Hey, somebody see if you can find that. It says a full description of these railroads with detailed drawings and specifications of their entire equipment is furnished within my official report, but will not be injected into this narrative, as it would doubtlessly be tedious to lay the reader. That means, so in our Republic, C.J. Austin, this is edited, but Oh, excuse me. See if somebody can pull it up from the Iron Republic. If there's pictures, I'll do it myself when I get off because I'm not going to do it right now. But I would like to see what these drawings or so-called pictures look like. Anyway, in order, though, that my reader may better understand the plan of the cars I have been describing, I will state that this railroad was an elevated affair. Massive iron pillars set in the ground like those on which are laid the elevated railroads of New York. There was no heavy superstructure, though, through. As in American elevated railways, the cars were elevated on an average about 10 feet from the ground. Now, they're higher than that. On account of depressions, they sometimes ran considerably higher, but never less than 10 feet over a road or over a road or lower than 6 feet, excuse me. And that's pretty awesome. Anywhere, 6 feet anywhere. Thus, they could encounter no obstacles and were so attached to the track that they could not fly off, even if the wheels on which they ran were broken or detached. Oh, so they were like hooked to the, you know what I mean? So that's pretty awesome. Very, very safe. Now, the railway was double track. That is, there were two sets of tracks, one on either side of the upright iron pillars, and the cars on opposite sides ran in opposite directions, so they could never collide. Now, the columns which supported this novel railway were set about the same distance apart as those of an American elevated road, and as they took up scarcely any room and required no right of way, the road ran through farms and villages without danger or inconvenience to anybody. That's phenomenal. Yeah, okay. So that's about a quarter right there. No, yeah, that's a quarter right there. So, how I'm gonna mark it. I gotta hide it. And so we'll come back later and we'll pick up at the freight cars and everything in the split nation. And then it goes on. It goes to the struggles and everything else. Now you gotta remember Mr. Morris, when he went there, 18 whatever, after the Civil War, right? When he found his way there, the outpost they were at was attacked, and it goes very far into expressing who was attacked by, and we'll get into some of that in this, okay? And we're on page 50. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down, and in a couple hours we'll be back because, like I said, I'm not eating, so I want to sit here and relax, go back outside and ground again, but I want to go to the range, and depending on what my boy calls me, I'll read before I go to the range. And like I said, it is right now, it's 10:20. So hopefully I'll read about 2 hours, and then 1:30 be at the range, and then I'll check the mail after that. All right. So who all came in? Some of the same people. Okay. Hey, Snoo. Original Lonewolf, what's cracking, brother? Caramel, hey, what's that? Hey, Ada. Hey, it's good to see you guys in there. I appreciate you guys taking the time. I wish people could come and just sit still for a moment. Just be practical for once in your life. Instead of wanting to run back to that platform or that platform and actually listen. Yeah, I'm tired, but it's all right. I'm grounded. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And you can hear it. You know, usually I'm very energetic when it comes to reading. Later on, I should be, but I'm going to, like I said, sit here and relax a little bit. I'll put the music I can play and listen to that. And we'll be back and we'll read some more. Hey, Caramel, that was awesome. The video last night was awesome too. Yesterday. And, but the one, appreciate that. That was very good read, very good information, as usual, Theosophical Society. I really enjoyed that. But anyway, I'm gonna shut it down. Everybody. Much love and respect, my beloved sisters, and to my brothers, as always. What was that? I'll see y'all later. What was that? This looks interesting. Well, I'm gonna tap on that. All right. Definitely, I'm gonna tap on that. So let me go ahead and load it up, and I come back. All right. Perfect balance on this side of the ice wall. Exactly. That's my brother. I appreciate it. All of y'all are. Anyway, appreciate y'all taking the time again. Like I said, if they want to throttle, they want to remove this, that, and other, that's on them. Maybe when they start seeing, they'll be like, we got to get them off of here. That would be unfortunate for them. Yeah. See y'all in a little bit. Oh, yeah.